Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at the 10 scariest Wikipedia pages you should never read. Wikipedia is a very useful resource. We all use it, whether it's for doing our entire homework, or just looking up some funny and interesting facts online. But among the millions of Wikipedia pages there are, some are very scary. And that's exactly why I'm gonna read them to you. Before we get too scared, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? Coming in at number 10, we have locked-in syndrome. Have you ever heard of sleep paralysis? It's basically when you wake up mentally, but physically you're still asleep. It's something which is actually very common and happens to many people. Around 30% of people say they've experienced sleep paralysis at least once. Well, locked-in syndrome is similar to sleep paralysis, except it's permanent. Unlike in sleep paralysis, you can actually open your eyes. In fact, the eyes are the only muscle in your body you can move. Locked-in syndrome is described as when a patient is aware but they cannot move or communicate verbally. Every single muscle in their bodies cannot move except their eyes. So you're more or less a prisoner inside your own body. I can't think of anything more scary than that. And as if that's not bad enough, there's no cure for this either. There's no way a doctor can just click their fingers and you wake back up. And what's even more mysterious is there's no known cause of locked-in syndrome. It's something that seems to just happen to people. And it happens regardless of how old or young they are, or if they're a man or woman. You never know, you could be next, so live every day to the fullest. For me, that means sitting indoors and narrating these videos. Next up, we have Benjamin Kyle. In 2004 in Georgia, this 69-year-old man was found. He was wearing little clothing and was in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant. When police and investigators asked who he was, he simply said he did not know. He had no forms of ID and had no recollection as to who he was. Investigators have tried for over a decade to locate any friends or family. They've also looked into other ways they could identify Benjamin Kyle. Benjamin Kyle is of course a fake name and they don't know who the guy is. They haven't been able to find any of his friends or family or anything to identify him with. And he says up until the point he was discovered outside the fast food restaurant, he has no memory. Some theorists have said he may have been victim to the MKUltra experiments. These were secret CIA mind control experiments. Others say maybe when he was a child he was taken by aliens. Then he had his whole memory wiped and he was returned to Earth. But you'd think one of his family members would have come forward saying it was him. Benjamin Kyle is the only American citizen listed as missing despite his whereabouts being known. That's right, he's actually on the missing persons list as so little is known about him. Maybe one day we'll find out who Benjamin Kyle really is, but as of yet we have no idea. Next up we have black-eyed children. So we all know that children are very innocent and pure most of the time. But if you've ever watched any horror movie, you know they can sometimes be pretty terrifying. Just look at Insidious or The Exorcist. Well, if you've looked in any newspapers in the past decade, you've likely seen reports on black-eyed children. They're paranormal creatures and they're children ranging between the ages of 6 and 16. They have very pale skin and fully black eyes. They're often reported hitchhiking or begging for money. And there's been over 1,000 cases of people reportedly seeing black-eyed children. I know urban legends do sometimes make people see things. But don't you think after over 1,000 sightings, some could be real? Pretty much every newspaper in the UK has run a story about these black-eyed children. If you live in the USA or elsewhere, then let me know if it's the same in your country. There's even a pub in the UK called the Four Crosses. Apparently a black-eyed child named Emily haunts this pub. I'd love to go there one day and then report back to you guys on whether it really is haunted. But let me know what you think about the scary black-eyed children urban legend. Next up we have Clinton Road. Clinton Road is said to be the scariest road not only in the USA but in the world. It has nothing to do with Bill or Hillary. Instead, it's a 10-mile road located in New Jersey. It's home to many paranormal sightings of ghosts, creatures, and even witches. Apparently there's even stories of cults in the forests doing weird rituals. Some say a Bohemian Grove style cult do sacrifices in the woods. Now you may think if you ever had to go by this road you just speed through. But the road is also home to America's longest traffic light wait. That's right, there's a traffic light which seems to never ever turn green on this road. It turns green once every 20 minutes. So if there are scary creatures on this road, you cannot escape quickly. It's almost like whoever put this traffic light up wanted to scare people. Who knows, maybe this traffic light's been cursed by one of the many witch sightings in the area. Next up is Girl A. So you know when someone's got a name like that, they've done something pretty scary. Well, on Wikipedia you can look up Girl A under Sasebo slashing. On the 1st of June 2004, a 12-year-old girl came to her school with a box cutter. She then used it on the arms and throat of an 11-year-old classmate. The girl was called Satomi Mitare, but the girl who did this act was only identified as Girl A. It happened at Okubu Elementary School in Japan, and it's said to be one of the scariest crimes that shook Japan. Believe it or not, this girl actually got away with the crime as criminal responsibility in Japan starts at 16. It's now 14, but back then it was 16, so this girl got away with it as she was 12. Many online have nicknamed Girl A Nevada Tan. This is because in a rare photo of her, she was seen wearing a sweatshirt saying Nevada. And tan is the way a young child would pronounce the word Chan. Believe it or not, there's been many strange fan arts of Nevada Tan, and one German band even named themselves Nevada Tan. It's safe to say there's some very creepy things about this, including the fans this girl seems to have. Next up, we have UVB76. We've covered this briefly in some other videos, but I had to include it here in case anyone doesn't know what UVB76 is. UVB76 is also known as the Buzzer. It's a shortwave radio station which is located in Russia. If you have a shortwave radio, you can access it on the frequency 4625 kHz. It's owned by the Russian Armed Forces, but is very mysterious. It broadcasts a short, monotonous tone, but every so often this buzzing is interrupted by a Russian man's voice. I'll play a clip of it now so you guys can get an idea.
УЗБ-76, 93 882, Наимина, 74 14, 35.
So what actually is UVB76? Well, many intelligence agencies have said this is a Russian number station. It's used for transmitting various secret messages to Russian spies around the world. Messages such as Bromal 74279914 Boris Roman Olga have been said. Other things such as Nikolai, Anna, Ivan, Mikhail, Ivan, Nikolai, Anna 74143572 have been said. These Russian names are likely code names of spies they're contacting, and the numbers will mean something which have been agreed upon beforehand. This thing is very creepy, and some people have tried to break into the number station before. It does look very abandoned, but seeing as it gives off messages, someone is clearly operating this. Seeing as Russian spies have been causing a stir all around the world recently, maybe they've been taking orders from UVB76. Next up is the FLATWOODS monster. On the 12th of September 1952, 3 boys witnessed something crashing down to Earth. They ran over to it in the woods and they were met by a cloud of mist and a shrill hissing noise. The boys who breathed in the mist experienced vomiting and dizziness for several weeks, and they claimed they saw some kind of scary monster. Maybe this dust was a meteorite hitting Earth, or perhaps it was caused by a UFO crash. Some said it could have been the crash of a US government military operation, but the 3 boys all claimed to have seen the same scary looking monster. They described it and it was drawn looking something like this. It took place in Braxton County, West Virginia in the USA. And in the local park, there's even a chair of the FLATWOODS monster. The boys said the monster had the head much like an ace of spades. Some said perhaps they were simply confused and they saw a large owl. But the 3 boys claim they definitely did see this monster, and I can't explain the smoke. Also, police did report an oily residue around the area at the time. So this definitely has many mysteries, and I encourage you to read through the FLATWOODS monster page on Wikipedia. Next up is the DYATLOV Pass incident. In 1959, 9 hikers disappeared in DYATLOV Pass, Russia. Their camp was discovered in the snow with their tents ripped open. The 9 hikers were all eventually found, but they were not alive. They had no shoes on and their bodies were totally intact. It wasn't sure how they passed away whatsoever. Some say it could have been a bear, seeing as their tents were ripped open. But there was literally no damage to their bodies whatsoever, and it wasn't clear as to why they wouldn't be wearing shoes. Some have said perhaps some paranormal activity took place here, and others say perhaps they got caught up in a secret weapons test. But in reality, this is a total mystery and there's many strange things about this incident. Next up, we have Joyce Vincent. One evening, police broke down Joyce Vincent's door. When they did, they found she was not alive. But the scary thing is, she hadn't been alive for over 2 years. Only her skeleton could be seen in her London apartment. According to investigators, she'd been shopping, got into her house, and then never left. It wasn't clear how she passed away, as she was simply a skeleton. The reason why her passing had gone unnoticed for 2 years was because 2 months before this, she cut everyone off. She quit her job and ceased all communication with her family and friends. People have no idea why she did this or how she passed away, and to this day the case of Joyce Vincent remains a big London mystery. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the scariest Wikipedia page on this list. Personally, I think it's Locked In Syndrome, as I can't imagine anything worse than that. If you guys haven't already, why don't you check out my second channel? It's full of amazing DIYs and life hacks, and I even show my face in some of the videos. But as always, thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, check out some more videos on screen right now, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.